This week on Engage the Sage.
Everyone, I'm Don Saucier. Welcome to this week's episode of Engage the Sage. This week, I'm going to talk to you about how to slow down your teaching. I think one of the simplest things we can do to make teaching better for us and learning better for our students is to slow down while we teach. We conducted a recent survey of student experience, and our students told us the most unsupportive behavior that they experienced from their professors in the college classroom was professors teaching the information too quickly. That's actually a good thing, because that is really easy to correct. Today I'm going to talk to you about why slowing down is going to be better for you as a teacher, why it's going to be better for your students to learn, and how to do it. So first, slowing down is going to help you teach. When you slow down when you're teaching, it's going to make the content come together in a more cohesive way. This is going to help you with pacing. It's going to help you put out the content in a way that's going to be comfortable for you. It's going to be putting out the content in a way that is easier for you to maintain without getting ahead of yourself. When you pause and you slow down while teaching, it's going to make it easier for you to hit your transitions. And that's going to make the entire narrative of your lesson come together more smoothly. When you're pausing, when you're slowing down, when you're thinking about how to hit that transition, it means the information is going to build and scaffold in a way that's going to make sense to you, but more importantly, it's going to make sense to your students. They're not going to be caught unawares by the new thing they don't understand because it's all building, because you slowed down and let it build. Another huge thing is pausing and slowing down while teaching is going to give you a chance to breathe. It is really easy to talk way too fast while teaching. Ask me how I know this. It is really easy to talk too fast. And I find when I'm getting on a roll, because I have a tendency to get excited and talk fast, I'm doing it right now, I have to slow myself down so that I can breathe and not panic and suffocate in front of my class. When we pause, when we slow down, gives us a moment to think. And as you've heard me say before, when we're presenting, when we're answering questions, smiling, breathing, thinking, talking are 4 good things to do in that order. It gives us the opportunity to do that. Now we're going to make our points more clearly. We're going to make them more completely, more concisely, more compellingly. So the 4 C's are going to be more likely to come about when we slow down, give ourselves a chance to breathe and to think, to make that information come out just a little bit better. One of the biggest advantages, though, of slowing down and pausing and helping us teach is going to help us remember to teach less better. Teaching less better means I'm going to make sure that I go a little bit deeper. I'm going to focus more on better understanding of information, a more reasonable amount of it, rather than fire hosing my students with lots and lots of content. They don't learn well that way, and I don't enjoy teaching well that way. So by pausing, by slowing down, by teaching less better, and by avoiding fire hosing, I'm going to have a better experience as a teacher, and hopefully they're going to have better experiences as students. So at this point, I'm pausing, I'm slowing down, I'm feeling good as a teacher, I've made the experience better for me. Now we're going to talk about why the experience is going to be better for your students. When you fire hose your students with information, when you talk really, really fast, when you click through those slides really, really fast, your students might have time to write it all down, might have time to type it in their laptops, but maybe even then not. They might have time to write it down, but they don't have time to think about it. If you pause, if you slow down, you're giving them the opportunity to engage in critical thinking and to question the stuff you are teaching them. And those are good things. When you pause and slow down, it's also going to help your students take not only complete notes, but better notes. Because now they have time not just to write down maybe the things you have on your PowerPoint, but to actually annotate it with examples, maybe their own questions, maybe their own thoughts. Your students can't listen, write, and think all at the same time. So if you talk, you present material, and then pause, allow them to take their notes, and allow them to think about it, they're going to do a better job recording the information and learning it. And that is really what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be supporting students' learning and success. When we pause, when we slow down, we're actually letting our students know that your job in learning as a student is not just to write down the PowerPoint slides. It's actually to critically evaluate them as a person with a brain who is taking this class for personal and professional reasons. And when you pause and when you slow down and you start fire hosing, you might allow for opportunities for active learning. Active learning is a very, very powerful strategy that we can use. And there's lots of specific methods. And check out previous videos for lots of advice on how to do active learning. But it allows for those opportunities where students can deepen their knowledge because now they're applying and thinking about what they're learning. So now, hopefully I've invited you to consider, hey, maybe I should slow down and let my students learn in my classes. I'm going to admit this is harder to do than maybe it seems. And this is something that I've struggled with across my entire teaching career. So I'm going to share with you some strategies that work reasonably well for me. One of my first strategies is I drink a lot of water while I teach. I have a water bottle with me at all times when I teach, and I will drink from it periodically. One of the things you may or may not know if you're one of my students is I'm not usually thirsty. I actually do it to remind myself to pause. And even if there's no more water in the bottle, I will still go through the actual action of drinking from the water bottle to insert the pauses to let my students stay with me and to remind me to slow down. Another thing that I do, I like PowerPoint. I know a lot of people don't like PowerPoint. We have a video where we talk about, effective ways to teach with PowerPoint. I like PowerPoint. And I animate my slides so only one point comes up at a time. So when one point comes up, talk about what that is, I'll give a definition, I'll describe an example, I might ask a question of my audience. But what will happen is I'll then walk back to the computer to hit a button on the keyboard to make the next point come up. I don't walk around with a clicker because that walking back to the computer helps me, again, to pace the information and to keep myself from going too fast. So I tend to pace around. It reminds me, walk back to the computer, I will slow down and keep the pacing of my content more reasonable. Another thing, because I'm often guilty of going too fast, I will ask my students if they need more time in their note-taking. I will ask my students if they need me to go back, and I will often train my students to let me know if I'm getting too excited and I'm going too fast. For instance, I might teach them that this hand gesture is a real subtle, respectful way to let me know I'm too excited, I'm going too fast, let's bring it back down. I will let my students know that does not offend me. I actually think it is a compliment when someone asks me to repeat myself because it means they really want to know what it is that I said. And I think this is a great way to help students hold you accountable for teaching them the way they should be taught. Another thing I do is I will slow down to emphasize major points. And as you can see what I just did there, I kind of accentuate the words just a little bit more. It cues my students that what I just said is important. And if they miss it, another thing that I can do is I can say what I said. This theory was really important. I'm going to say that again. This theory is really important. So you can use some of that cued, slowing down your pacing, as well as cueing the repetition to let your students know I'm slowing down because I really want to make sure you got this. I'm doing this because I care about your learning. Early on in my career, I might have had a different perspective on this. I might have thought that getting information out really, really quickly was going to be a good thing because I could teach more and my students could learn more. The issue there is I might have covered more, but I didn't necessarily teach more because they didn't learn more. And slowing down and pausing and allowing for this deeper thinking is going to make a better experience for me as a teacher and a better experience for my students. And when I teach better and when they learn better, then the whole endeavor is more successful. In the comments below, I would love to hear any tips that you have about how we can pause and slow down while we're teaching. Thank you for watching this episode of Engage the Sage. Please like, subscribe, sign up for notifications, share us on social media, and we'll see you next time on Engage the Sage.